Hello friends, it's been a while and this is a really late wrap up. So this is my September wrap up. I only read 6 books for September. I've been really slowing down in my reading, but I'm not super mad about it because I definitely already met my goal and went over it. Without further ado, here are all the 6 books that I read in September. So the first one is actually an arc. This is The Wolves Are Watching by Natalie Lund. This one came out October 4th, and this one I rated 4 stars. And this is a small town contemporary thriller where children are being stolen and wolves are lurking in the forest. This is set in Picnic, Illinois, which is described as a place where you don't need to lock your doors and where children do not go missing. Our main character is Luz, and on the night that Madison, their cousins, when Madison went missing, she saw a pair of eyes in the forest that she thinks are from wolves. And as they try to figure out what happened with Madison, how she went missing, she discovers and reads this article about an abduction, or also a case of a child going missing in the 1870s in their same town. And she starts to see patterns and she starts to see clues, and as she digs deeper, she discovers secrets about the people and their small town, and also discovers the existence of magical animal women who have remained hidden in the shadows for centuries and are the ones who took her cousin and are not planning on giving her cousin back. So I really enjoyed this book. Like I said, this is a 4 stars read for me. It's very atmospheric. It's the perfect like fall mystery thriller type read, you know. And I also really enjoyed following our main character. This was a great atmospheric read, perfect for fall, especially with, you know, the small town setting with secrets being uncovered and mysteries being unveiled. And I also really enjoyed following our main character, Luz. I found her to be smart and level-headed, and I felt like the way she dealt with the information that she was given, the things that she was discovering, there was a part of her that doubted, of course, some of the things that were going on, and like, you know, you just don't want to believe certain things that you're reading or certain conclusions that you're going into. But she wasn't afraid to keep learning more about it and really just figuring out what's going on and really save her cousin. So I also really enjoyed reading her growth, and also the exploration of family and community I think was really well done. So really enjoyed this book. And then the next one is What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. This one I rated at 4.5 stars. This is a manhwa that was actually turned into a Korean drama, and I watched a K-drama before reading this one, and I've been wanting to read this ever since I discovered the drama was announced and it was based from a manhwa. I really enjoy the Korean drama. It's one of my, like, you know, favorites. It was just really fun kind of like reading about the characters and seeing the characters again, because I really enjoyed following the main characters. We are following our titular Secretary Kim and her arrogant boss of almost 10 years who tries to figure out why she suddenly wants to quit. And because he's a really difficult character or difficult person to work with, she was essentially the only secretary that lasted with him. So again, it was so much fun, and it definitely also really has dark moments with it, and I just found myself, you know, just enjoying being with the characters and kind of like pining the same thing for their happiness, the same way that I did watching the Korean drama. I'm actually currently reading another manhwa from, I believe, the same author, if not the same artist. It kind of has the same vibes. It's also office romance, and it has hints of like magical realism. It's called An Hour of Romance, and essentially the main characters are, again, they are co-workers, and they got cursed with exchanging bodies for an hour every day and different times every day. So I really am enjoying it so far. So next one is The Edge of Being by James Brandon. This one came out October 11th, and this one I also rated 4.5 stars. This is following our main character who journeys to find his father, because he's always been kind of looking for that connection with a father figure of his, and it's always been kind of shrouded in secrets and a little bit of lies, his mother. So he decided to embark, I think this was set during his senior year, embark on a journey to find his father. So I love the exploration of the relationships and growth in this story, the complicatedness of those relationships, and about family, connection, and belongingness. It was heart-wrenching to read at times, but the characters are just really beautiful and endearing. I really enjoyed following the main characters. Although I'm not one to like journey across like the country to like find someone, I understood the need for connection and belonging. So I enjoyed that one. And then one of my most anticipated reads of this year, The River of Silver by S.A. Chakraborty. This one came out October 11th. I actually was able to borrow the audiobook from the library pretty early on this year, because the audiobook was released first before the physical book, which was really interesting. So I actually got the arc from NetGalley, I believe. I read the Devabad trilogy last year? Was it last year? I don't really recall very much now, but I read it and pretty recently, like within a year or so, or like within a year and a half. I loved it. I love the David Bowie trilogy, and I've been wanting to read this book ever since it was announced, and I wanted to really wait for the physical copy. Thankfully, like I said, I was given like the e-reader copy. I really just wanted to be able to read it and listen to it too. So I listened parts of it, maybe like an hour of it total, while reading the physical or like the ebook copy of it. And I love this book so much. I rated this a 4.75 stars. The only reason why I'm not reading this 5 is because I wanted to be longer. I wanted to dwell with the characters long, but I really liked the way that this was written because it did not add on like any major plot points to the story. It was just like kind of how I want books set in a series that was already finished, where it's really just us following the main characters and kind of like seeing them again and seeing how they're doing now, kind of spending time with them again, and kind of also seeing some stories that weren't included in the original trilogy that happened during that span of time. So again, I really enjoyed this one, and it only honestly just made me even more excited to get to Shannon Jacobordy's new book. So I'm really excited for it. Plus the cover looks really amazing. So the last few actually, so this one and the last one that I'm going to talk about are like some of my anticipated releases of this year. This one is probably my most anticipated release of this year. If you guys haven't already kind of figured it out, it's a lot of people's most anticipated reads of this year, and honestly it didn't really disappoint for the most part. So I'm talking about 𝐵𝐵𝐵 by 𝐴𝐼. Okay, I don't know where to start. First, if I could, I will rate this more of like a 4.9, 4.85, but I would just label this as a 4.75 stars because, like I said, for the most part, this definitely met my expectations and for the most part didn't disappoint at all. It's a very complicated, a lot of people have already talked about this one, and I feel like you already know kind of like the themes that are present in this book, and I felt like the exploration of those themes, I think 𝐼 did a really amazing job in the exploration of those themes. It was brutal, but it was raw. It made me cry, it made me uncomfortable and angry, and the only thing that I wish was different is actually spoilery, so I will not say it. A major thing that I kind of figured out as I read the book, and it's complicated to explain without spoiling anything, because the main like thing that really I didn't like about this book was just that. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, I'm not gonna say what it is, but I might be mentioning it in my vlog, because I do have a vlog for this one, which again, coming in late, I'm so sorry, but I'm still, it's been a really busy last few weeks. Yeah, 𝐵𝐵𝐵 by 𝐼. I still really love this book. I still really enjoy this one. I still fell for the characters. I still really enjoyed following their growth. Also, of course, that also comes with their faults. The way just 𝐼 was able to really write the different characters and all the nuances that they have when it comes to like relationships that they have with other people, the situations that they're in, the environment that they're in, the way that they grow up. I felt like it was really well done and made them just even much more endearing and lovable to me, even with their faults. So 𝐵𝐵𝐵 by 𝐼. I love this one, and also this made me even more excited to read her other books. I know that 𝐿LOWFACE is coming out early next year, if not later this year. I think it's early next year, and that one is more of a contemporary, adult contemporary, maybe slightly thrillery or mystery type book. I'm not 100% sure if I'm recalling that correctly, but I know it is contemporary. I know that it doesn't have any like fantasy aspect to it, because so far Poppy War and 𝐵𝐵𝐵 both have Babel. Actually, I should call this Babel, it's not 𝐵𝐵𝐵. Do have magic aspects to them, or at least with Babel there's like magical realism aspect to it. And also there is a work in progress project that she has, where it's like a romance fantasy / fantasy romance that just reading the tweet, or the original tweet, made me just even more excited. I cannot recall exactly the wording of the tweet, but it's something about two students who go to hell together to save their professor, and they end up falling in love. So like, I think it's also kind of like enemies to lovers, or like rivals to lovers. So I'm really excited for that one. Of course, 𝐼 herself has confirmed that this was her next book, I think. So I'm gonna put up the tweet right here. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm so excited. So 𝐿. And then the last one that I read, again, one of my most anticipated releases of this year, is The Company of Fiends by Catherine Moon. I rated this one another 4.75 stars. I really enjoyed this one. The only thing that I would say, similar to the first book, A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor, we delved more with the other characters, to like the other men in the harem, because this because reverse harem, I wish we delved more with the other characters too, because I felt like we only really focused a lot with one character, and I felt like the rest of the other characters, even though I love them and I enjoy the scenes, and the Simi scenes are really well written too. I feel like Catherine Moon is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors because of just the way that she writes and the way that she's able to really make the characters feel full, and like they don't feel kind of just like, oh, another member of the harem, because it kind of, that's what I was afraid of with reverse harems. Like I could see like maybe the main character falling in love with one or two of the characters, but not maybe 5, because there's 5. Also, this comes with art too. So I bought this from the author's website. I've been waiting for this one. That's why it took me a while to read this, even though this came out earlier this year, because I couldn't find it on the author's website. So I was waiting for it to come back so I can buy it, so that it came in signed and with art as well. So I didn't actually know, or I wasn't sure that it was going to come with art, because it didn't say on like the website itself, or that it was going to be signed, but I really did want to just buy it directly from her website. So it came in signed, and it has the 5 men of the harem. So yeah, like I said, she was able to really form the relationships that our main character has with each of the guys really well. So it made me believe that, made me believe in that reverse harem, because I feel like that's one of the main things that I'm very hesitant about reverse harems. I feel like I would always just pine or wish or just prefer out of the 5. And so far, the books that I've read from her, I really have found like the relationships that the main character has with the members. It's really kind of iffy to say members of the harem, but I don't know how else to phrase it. But again, the relationships that the main characters has with each of the guys to be like really believable. I have read also Written, and what was the other one from the library, her very first series. I think the second book is Written. I read that one this month, so that will be coming in my October wrap up, I believe. Yes, so I believe the first book is called Written, so the series is The Library's Coven. Yep. And Written, I don't remember when I read Written. I think it was last year, and I've been wanting to, it was late last year around this time too. Been wanting to continue the series, so I finally got to reading Warriors, and I am planning on reading the rest, Scrivens and Ancients. So yeah, they're very short books too. They're all under 300 pages. I think the longest one is 260, which was Warriors. So yeah, all under 250 pages. So that is it for all the books that I read for September. October will be filmed soon. I don't know, because next Friday is going to be really busy for me. We'll see. Maybe I can film sometime during the week, because I'm also going to be talking about only 6 books. So again, that is it for this wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how you're reading for September when, and I will see you on the next one.